You know that voice in your head that says they are smarter than you. They started earlier than you. They are more confident, more talented, more everything than you, right? And the worst part is sometimes you look around and think that voice is right. And I have that voice too. Other people really do have more followers, more money, more skills, more time. So you start doing this quiet calculation in your head. If they are already that far ahead, what's the point of me even starting? What's the point, right? So if that's you, stay with me. Because the hard truth is, yes, in many ways, there are people better than you. But there's also one thing they will never have: your unfair advantage. And the moment you understand what that actually is, comparison stops being a reason to quit and becomes the reason you can finally start your own thing. Welcome to my channel. This space is for people who are trying to build something in a world full of cheap dopamine. Something like a business, a channel, a personal brand, a career, or just a life they could really be proud of. I burned myself out over the years of chasing different projects, scrolling my brain into numbness through social media, and secretly believing that everyone else had something I didn't. Better ideas, better discipline, better brains, I don't know. So I tried to catch up with doing even more content, more learning, more strategies. And at the end, I ended up more exhausted, more confused, and more ashamed than ever. So what changed everything for me was understanding that I didn't need to be the best to win. I needed to understand my unfair advantage and build from that instead of fighting against it. So if you feel overloaded, behind, and constantly comparing yourself to everyone else, hit the subscribe button and stick around, because this video might be the moment you stop waiting to become someone else and start building with who you actually are. Let's start with something most motivational content will never say to you. Yes, some people are better than you. You're not the best. There are people who have started 5 years earlier, grew up with money, or have parents who supported them, or live in a calmer environment than you, or they naturally just think faster and learn quicker than you. Pretending that's not true doesn't help you. Telling yourself that we all have 24 hours doesn't help you at all. You don't have the same 24 hours if you're juggling work, family, pressure, mental health, or chaos at home at the same time. So let's stop playing this fake game of I'm just as good as everyone else, because deep down you know you don't believe it, right? And every time you repeat it, a part of you rolls the eyes and says, yeah, right, yeah. So here's the paradox. The moment you stop trying to be as good as everyone else is actually the moment you can finally start winning in your own lane, because the game you think you're losing is not the game you were designed to play. When people hear unfair advantage, they normally think about rich parents, a crazy talent, or insane luck. That can be an advantage, but that's not what I'm talking about in this video. Your real unfair advantage is the unique combination of your story with your scars, your constraints, your obsessions, your environment you grew up, and your extremely weird ways of thinking that literally no one else on this planet has in that exact mix. So let me show you what I mean by that. Maybe you grew up in a small town with nothing happening and no opportunities, like me. You think this is a disadvantage, but that also means you understand boredom deeply. You've had to create your own fun. You don't take small chances for granted. You've seen what it looks like when people give up on themselves, right? That can become an insane unfair advantage if you switch the flip in your head and create content that speaks to people stuck in small places, or build a product that helps them find opportunities. Talk about ambition in a way big city people simply never can. Or maybe you've struggled with anxiety, overthinking, and mental overload for years, or burned out like me for a few years. You think that makes you weak, but that also means you gotta strengthen yourself. You notice emotional details others miss. You are sensitive to people's inner struggles. You've tested probably 100 coping strategies that didn't work. You knew what it's like to feel trapped inside your own head, right? That also can become an unfair advantage if you create systems that help anxious people to take action, or communicate in a way that makes other people feel deeply understood. Design products or services that are overthinker proof, I would say. So your unfair advantage is not that you are better than everyone. It's that you are uniquely equipped to help a very specific type of person with a very specific type of problem of everything you have lived through and learned through the experience. That's why copying other people's paths never work. You're trying to play their game with your story instead of building your game around your story. So if all that is true, why do you still feel like you're average? Because self-doubt doesn't make you feel bad, it makes you feel blind. Think about it like this. If you're in a war and you are holding a knife in your hand, your skills, your experience, your story, these are the knives. Your self-doubt whispers every time to you, that's not a real weapon. Look at their sword, their gun, or their army. Yours is pathetic. So what do you instantly do? You drop the knife, you put your weapon on the floor, you cross your arms and say, see, I have nothing. So self-doubt isn't something that removes your unfair advantage. It just tries to convince you to never use it. And then social media adds fuel to that fire. You see someone at level 50 while you are still at level 1 and your brain does the fast, cruel math, thinking of by the time you're getting there, they will be even further. They will reach level 100 and you will reach level 20 or something like that. So what's the point, right? What you don't see is everything behind their unfair advantage. They probably started 6 years earlier, had the praxis, had the failed project, the nights they felt like you feel right now, like a failure maybe. So your doubt keeps you stuck at 0, while your brain runs simulations of failure every single day. It tells you something like, wait until you feel ready, wait until you are more confident, or wait until you have learned more. But readiness, hear me out on this, readiness isn't something you wait for. It's something you create by starting while you feel unready. So your unfair advantage grows through action, not through thinking about action. You've probably heard start today a million times, right? It's on every poster, every podcast, every Instagram quote. So your brain finds it under the category, yeah, I know, next one, right? But let's look at it differently for a second. Every day you don't use your unfair advantage. 2 simple things happen. First one is someone with less talent but more consistently takes your spot, even if he's not better. And second one is your own belief in yourself shrinks just a little bit more every single day. You're not just not trying to progress, you're actively training your brain to see yourself as someone who doesn't follow through their own plans. That identity is what is killing you from inside, not one bad week, not one failed project or one failed video. It's the slow, invisible forming of the sentence, something like, I'm just not the type of person who can achieve X, Y, or who can finish what he starts, or can be consistent, or can actually change his own life, right? Starting today is probably not the best achievement. You will probably not achieve everything tomorrow, but it's a course of breaking your own identity. Because the moment you become someone who does one small thing every single day, your unfair advantage stops being a theory and starts being visible. And hear me out, because you don't need a perfect business. You don't need the perfect body. You don't need the perfect YouTube channel or personal brand or whatever. You just need to choose one simple field, one platform or arena, and choose one daily action and protect it. Like your life depends on it, because in many ways, your future life actually does. Let me give you a practical plan so that you could turn your unfair advantage into an actionable plan to make progress, right? I want you to pause this video and ask yourself 3 simple questions. First of the questions is, what have you struggled the most with in the last 5 years? Or the second question is, who are you secretly jealous of and why exactly? And the third thing, what kind of people are actually coming to you to get a problem solved or to ask for advice? Those answers are clues to your unfair advantage. They help you to get the insight. If you've struggled with something deeply, you can probably help someone one step behind you. If I look back on my past, and I would have seen this video, this would help me so much, but I didn't have it back then. So yeah, If you're jealous of a certain type of creator or builder, your jealousy is often something like a compass or an insight pointing at the game you want to play. And if people already ask you for help in some kind of area, that means your advantage is already visible to them, right? You just didn't have named it yet. So now, pick one specific type of person you would love to help, like students or builders, anxious builders, or pro creatives, anything, anyone, and pick one area where you will show up consistently. For example, writing a book, building a project, or making a YouTube channel, something like this. And then execute daily on this one thing and use your unfair advantage. Something like publishing, practicing, building. For me, it's talking and teaching. Your unfair advantage grows through repetition, not intensity. 5 years from now, the people who look like they came out of nowhere are usually the ones who quietly did the small, boring things 100 of times. They weren't the smartest, they weren't the most talented, they were just the ones who actually used what they had. So no, you might not be the best right now. There are people with more money, more talent, or better circumstances. But they will never have your exact story, your exact pain, your way of seeing the world, and your combination of scars and skills. This is your unfair advantage, and I want you to use it. So the question is not, am I as good as them? The real question you should ask yourself is, am I willing to show up with what I do or have today before I feel ready, and keep showing up long enough so that I can win my own game and use my unfair advantage. And last but not least, if you're tired of drowning in comparison, tired of feeling mentally overloaded, and tired of scrolling while other people live the life you secretly want, this is your line in the sand. And this channel here is for you. I want you to start small, start messy, but just start. Even if it don't feel right, because every day you don't use your unfair advantage is another day you pretend you don't have one. So if this video hits you, or did hit you, feel free to subscribe. If you want more videos about honest talking of building something real in a world that wants to keep you numb. And tell me probably in the comments, if you want to, what do you think your unfair advantage could be? Even if you're not really sure if it is. So yeah. Also, feel free to watch this video right here, talking about self-improvement and how it's ruining your life. And always remember, you are not behind, you're just early in your own story, in your game. And it's time to start writing it on purpose.